Our story begins on the planet-destroying weapon, the Death Star. We are in the throne room as we witness the greatest duel of the generation between Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader. As the fight reaches its climax, Luke chops Vader's arm off, sending his saber plummeting to the star's core. In the original timeline, Luke shots his saber off and declares himself a Jedi before the Emperor. But what if this wasn't the case? What if Luke actually killed his father then and there and pledged himself to being Darth Sidious's apprentice? Sidious looks at Luke with a sinister smile. For over 20 years had he been trying to locate a worthy replacement for Vader, and now finally he had done it. Luke would be everything his father was not. This was like a parallel moment to 20 years ago on Coruscant, when Anakin bent the knee for Palpatine and became Darth Vader. As the Death Star begins to crumble, Luke and Emperor Palpatine manage to escape its destruction, leaving behind the chaos and devastation. They make their way to the heart of the Empire, the planet Coruscant, where Sidious takes Luke under his wing and starts training him in the ways of the dark side. In the training chambers, sparks of lightning crackled from Palpatine's fingertips, illuminating his malicious grin. Luke watched with intensity, absorbing every intricacy of this potent technique. As he mimicked his master's movements, arcs of dark energy erupted from his own hands, surpassing even Palpatine's expectations. Luke was learning as many Sith techniques as possible. Force choke became second nature to him, his grip tightening on invisible throats, savoring the power coursing through his veins. Each movement grew more fluid, more effortless, as the dark side's influence flowed through him, amplifying his strength to unfathomable levels. His power was finally realized, and he achieved the potential his father, Anakin Skywalker, could never reach. As the weeks turned into months, Luke's power grew, surpassing that of his master. His connection to the dark side seemed innate, as if he was born for this purpose. He absorbed Palpatine's teachings like a voracious sponge, mastering abilities that had taken others years to learn. On Coruscant, Luke Skywalker emerged as an extremely powerful Sith Lord, his abilities already greater than what Vader's ever were. Meanwhile, with the destruction of the Death Star, the Rebel Alliance gains widespread support, and their numbers grow exponentially. The Empire's grip begins to weaken as the Rebels gain resources, form alliances, and rally against the Sith Lords. Leia Organa was distraught when she heard the news about her brother, but she vowed to do whatever it takes to bring him back from the clutches of evil. This was the most powerful the rebellion had ever been. The rebels were able to win more small battles against the Empire, bolstering their confidence in combat. Over the coming months, the rebellion's numbers increased tenfold, and the Empire's grip on the galaxy was loosening. This was the time to strike, to put a final end to the Empire and secure peace for the galaxy. The leaders in charge of the rebellion had been putting in place a plan of invasion ever since the destruction of the Death Star many months ago. They were to launch an all-scale invasion upon Coruscant to destroy Palpatine and retake control of the galaxy. The attack began. On the ground, rebel troops surged through the streets, their blaster fire lighting up the night. The once pristine plazas became arenas of chaos and destruction. The citizens of Coruscant, long oppressed by the Empire, cautiously peeked out from their homes, their hope reigniting by the rebellion's audacious assault. The rebellion's success had not gone unnoticed by Emperor Palpatine's remaining forces. Desperate to retain their grip on power, the Imperial troops unleashed a barrage of heavy weaponry upon the rebels. Yet the rebels pressed on, their numbers bolstered by the swelling tide of supporters who had rallied to their case. Sidious informed his apprentice to enter the fray and eliminate the rebellion fleet. Luke did as he was told, slicing down rebels left, right, and center. As Luke made his way through the smoldering ruins of Coruscant, a chance encounter brought him face to face with his former allies, Han Solo, Leia Organa, and Chewbacca. Luke, consumed by the dark side's allure, remained unmoved. With a cold gaze, he outstretched his hand, and the Force responded to his command. In an instant, Chewbacca was forcefully pulled towards Luke, Chewie's neck snapped as he fell to the floor dead. There was no hint of mercy or anguish in Luke's eyes, for the dark side had numbed his heart to such emotions. Han and Leia stared in horror and disbelief, their pleas falling on deaf ears as the fallen Jedi stood resolute, his allegiance firmly aligned with the Sith. Luke was bombarded with attacks after he murdered Chewie. He swiftly left the area before they could gain any advantage on him. Luke's grief suddenly hit him harder than he could ever imagine. He felt a sense of loss and he didn't understand why. Emptiness radiated throughout himself. He thought about Chewie and what he just did to him. This isn't who he is. He doesn't murder his friends. Luke thought back to the time where he met Leia, Han, and Chewie, back when Ben was still alive. They must all be disgusted with what he is doing right now. Luke struggled to come to terms with the atrocities that he had just committed. He ran to a place that he visited often, a place that held a strong connection to the Force. He entered the old council chambers in the Jedi Temple. Luke stood inside the hallowed halls of the Jedi Council chambers, a room that once housed dozens of Jedi Masters. Suddenly, a gentle breeze rustled throughout the room, and the Force ghosts of Anakin Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Yoda materialized before him. Luke's eyes widened in disbelief and awe as the presence of his former mentors filled the space.
Luke,
Anakin's voice whispered, tinged with a hint of remorse.
we have watched you descend into the darkness, but redemption is still within your grasp. You were destined to bring balance to the Force, not perpetuate its imbalance.
Obi-Wan's spectral figure stepped forward, his eyes brimming with compassion.
Luke, you were our last hope. The dark side has twisted your purpose, but it is never too late to choose a different path. Join us in the light once more.
Yoda's voice carried the weight of centuries of wisdom, resonating through Luke's very core.
Power the dark side may offer, but true strength it does not bring. To defeat the Emperor and save the galaxy, return to the light you must.
The three Force ghosts urged Luke to reconsider his allegiances, presenting him with a sharp truth that pierced through the layers of anger and revenge. They spoke of love, compassion, and the fundamental principles that had guided the Jedi for generations. Memories of his father's redemption, the sacrifice of Obi-Wan, and the teachings of Yoda flooded Luke's mind. He recalled the love he had for his friends, for the galaxy, and the innocent lives oppressed by the Empire's reign. As the gravity of his choices sank in, Luke felt the weight of his actions, the pain he had caused, and the hope that still flickered within him. A tear trickled down his cheek, carrying the remnants of his shattered resolve. At that moment, Luke made his choice. He turned back to the light side of the Force. Luke immediately returns to the Empire's executive building, where Palpatine's office is. As he navigates the enormous battle unfolding around him on Coruscant, he enters Palpatine's office, his crimson blade already humming. Sidious was furious to see his apprentice challenging him, but if Luke needed to be put back in place, then that is what would happen. He ignites his saber and leaps for his apprentice. Luke's red blade danced with elegant precision, countering Palpatine's furious strikes. Their blades crackled and hissed, the clash of light against dark echoing throughout the room. In this battle of destiny, the sparks that flew were a testament to the unyielding resolve of two titans, locked in a deadly duel. With a surge of power, Palpatine unleashed bolts of crackling lightning from his fingertips, seeking to engulf Luke in dark energy. But Luke, drawing upon his newfound strength, summoned the depths of the Force, channeling it through his own fingertips. The air crackled as blue lightning surged from Luke's hands. The clash of opposing energy sent shock waves throughout the room, causing the very walls to tremble. Luke stood resolute. His lightning proved stronger and more powerful than Palpatine's. It surged forward, overwhelming the Emperor's defenses, pushing him backwards with an unholy scream of agony. As the lightning crept onto Sidious's chest, it sank into his heart, killing him instantly. All around him, the destruction from the invasion continued, but it was over. With Palpatine dead, the Empire had absolutely no one. It didn't take long before the Empire completely crumbled and the rebellion took control of Coruscant, and soon, every planet where the remnants of the Empire hid. When Luke found his old friends, he begged for forgiveness. He would do anything to gain their trust again. Han was the first one to hug Luke, explaining that everyone makes mistakes and they are just happy that he found his way home. Leia, Lando, and C-3PO hugged Luke too and welcomed him home, but they all dearly missed Chewbacca. Soon after, Luke met a Force-sensitive woman named Mara Jade. They immediately became close and would eventually fall in love. Their connection to one another was extremely strong, and they got married as soon as possible. It wouldn't be long until they welcomed their first child, Ben Skywalker, into the world. After all the atrocities that Luke had committed, he finally reached a point in his life where he was happy, and the galaxy was safe. Luke was visited by the Force ghosts numerous times following the Emperor's defeat, and when he decided to begin rebuilding the Jedi Order, they assisted him a lot. The rest of his days were spent with his family and restoring the Jedi Order, so that the galaxy could experience eternal peace as they once had before. If you enjoyed today's video, you must watch What If Luke Was Trained from Birth, or What If Thrawn Joined the Republic. Please check out our Discord page if you would like to be active within the community and discuss all things Star Wars. I hope you all enjoyed, and may the Force be with you.